All right, let's dive back into the 80s for another deep dive.
Sounds fun.
This time, we're taking a look at a movie some of you might remember.
Okay.
It's Jewel of the Nile from 1985.
Ah, the sequel to Romancing the Stone.
Exactly. And I know a lot of you loved Romancing the Stone.
Yeah, it's a classic.
It is. So, naturally, we want to see what happens next with Joan and Jack.
Yeah, of course. Got to see how their story unfolds.
Exactly. So, get ready for more treasure hunts, those amazing desert landscapes, and that classic, 80s adventure vibe.
Oh, yeah. Jewel of the Nile definitely delivers on all of that.
It really does.
But you know what's really interesting about this sequel?
What's that?
It doesn't just rehash the first film.
Right.
It takes all those elements. We loved the adventure, the romance, the humor, and cranks up the dial.
Oh, I like
The stakes are higher, the romance is more complicated, and Joan Wilder especially, she really comes into her own in this one.
I was going to say, her transformation in this film is amazing.
Totally.
In Romancing the Stone, she's a bit more reactive, but here, she's taking charge.
Oh, absolutely.
There's that scene where she, commandeers a truck and leads this daring escape.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just incredible.
It's a far cry from the timid romance novelist we first met.
Totally.
And it makes you wonder, were the filmmakers trying to maybe address some of those feminist critiques of the 80s action heroine?
That's a really interesting point.
Or maybe they just wanted to give Kathleen Turner a chance to, show off her acting chops.
Yeah, give her a little more agency.
Right, exactly.
That's a question I hadn't really considered before.
Yeah, it's like they're playing with the genre a little bit, winking at the audience,
I see that.
but still delivering a super thrilling action sequence.
Totally. And they do it without sacrificing that humor that made the first film so great.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the comedic elements are even more refined in this one.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
Danny DeVito is back as Ralph, and he's just, he's crazier than ever.
He's always up to something.
Out constantly scheming, right?
Yeah.
Usually with hilarious consequences.
Oh, totally.
Do you remember that scene where he tries to barter with those Bedouins using, a bag of fake jewels?
Oh, classic Ralph.
I was dying.
That scene just perfectly captures his character,
It does.
That blend of cunning and desperation and, just utter incompetence.
He's so lovable.
He is. He's the ultimate comedic foil.
He is.
And DeVito's performance is, well, it's gold.
It is. It really is.
But there's something else about Ralph.
What's that?
There's actually a surprising amount of depth to his character arc.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So at first, Ralph is all about the greed, right? He wants the jewel of the Nile for the money, for the fame.
Makes sense.
But as the movie goes on, we start to see these little hints of loyalty,
Oh, interesting.
even selflessness, especially when he's interacting with Joan and Jack.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
There's that scene where he actually risks his own safety to help Joan escape from Omar's palace.
Exactly.
He could have just, taken off, saved himself.
Cut his losses, right?
Yeah, but he stayed to help.
He did. It's a subtle moment.
It is.
But it shows that Ralph's not just, this one-dimensional comic relief character.
There's more to him than meets the eye.
Yeah, he's got a heart, even if it is buried under, layers of self-preservation and those questionable fashion choices.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Speaking of Jewel of the Nile, we should probably talk about the jewel itself.
It's kind of important, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the whole reason for the adventure.
It sets everything in motion.
It does, but it's more than just a shiny rock, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
I mean, it represents something deeper, I think.
What do you mean?
Well, the jewel, it's not just a valuable gem, it's a symbol,
Okay.
Symbol of power, desire, and ultimately, I think, illusion.
Illusion, huh?
Yeah, everyone's chasing it, thinking it's going to be the key to their happiness.
Right.
But in the end, it's really the journey, the relationships they build, the self-discoveries they make along the way that truly matters.
It's like that saying, the real treasure is the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. Well, in this case, it's the friends, the personal growth, and maybe, a few priceless artifacts thrown in for good measure.
Okay, that's a great point.
Yeah.
But before we get too philosophical here,
Yeah.
there's something else about Jewel of the Nile that really struck me.
Okay.
I think it's even more visually stunning than Romancing the Stone.
Oh, I agree. It's beautiful.
The desert landscapes, those ancient ruins, the sunsets, just breathtaking.
It's pure escapism, visually.
It is. It totally is.
And it's not just the locations themselves, it's how the filmmakers use them.
Okay.
to amp up the action, heighten the suspense.
Oh, yeah, like that chase scene through the marketplace.
Exactly.
So good.
The camera weaving through the crowds, the colors, the chaos. It's exhilarating.
Makes you feel like you're right there.
It does.
Dodging camels and trying to haggle for, some spices.
Exactly. It's a masterclass in visual storytelling, really.
I'd say so, yeah.
They use the environment to create this sense of claustrophobia.
I've felt that.
Yeah. Like mirroring Joan and Jack's feelings as they're being chased.
Speaking of which, I was reading that the filmmakers had to get super creative with their location scouting for this film.
Oh, really?
Apparently, they shot a lot of those sweeping desert scenes on, like, a pretty small stretch of sand dunes.
You're kidding. It looks so vast on screen.
I know, right?
Wow.
It's really a testament to the skill of the cinematographer, the production designers.
It is.
They created this illusion of a huge, sprawling desert using just, clever camera work, some strategic set design.
And a whole lot of movie magic.
Exactly.
It's like they took a page from Ralph's playbook using a little trickery to create something amazing.
I love that analogy.
It just goes to show you that limitations can sometimes lead to, some really incredible creativity.
That's a great point.
And honestly, I think that's a perfect analogy for Jewel of the Nile itself.
How so?
Well, this film took something familiar, something that could have been seen as limited,
Okay.
and turned it into something truly memorable.
I like that, and I think we've got a lot more to unpack here, so let's take a quick break and we'll be back with more on Jewel of the Nile.
It's pretty remarkable how Jewel of the Nile manages to balance these, grand adventures
Yeah.
with those small moments of character development.
Yeah.
It's not just about running from the bad guys and finding treasure. It's about the characters, really, confronting those internal obstacles, too.
I see what you mean. It's like those external journeys kind of mirror the internal ones.
Exactly.
Joan's out there navigating these, dangerous deserts and ruins, but she's also, navigating her own fears and insecurities.
Right. And the way the film connects those two journeys is what makes her character arc so interesting to watch.
Totally agree.
And what I find fascinating is how Joan's transformation in this film really challenges that whole damsel in distress thing.
Oh, yeah. Very common in those 80s action movies.
Right. But Joan, she doesn't just wait around for Jack to rescue her.
She takes charge.
She does. She takes matters into her own hands.
There's that scene where she disarms those guards.
Oh, yeah.
Using nothing but her wit and that tapestry.
Good.
Hilarious and empowering.
It is.
It's like she's saying, hey, I might write romance novels, but don't underestimate me.
Exactly. And that shift in her character, it really affects her relationship with Jack, too.
I was going to say, their dynamic definitely changes in this film.
It does. In Romancing the Stone, it's all about his ruggedness and her vulnerability.
Right. Very classic adventure movie trope.
Totally. But in Jewel of the Nile, those lines start to blur a bit.
They need each other in different ways this time around.
They do. There's that scene where Jack gets injured and Joan has to step up.
Yeah. She leads them through that escape route.
A complete role reversal from the first film.
Totally. And it's in those moments of vulnerability, where they really have to rely on each other, that their relationship grows stronger.
I agree. They realize that their connection goes beyond just attraction.
It's about trust, respect, a shared sense of adventure.
Exactly. And, we can't forget about Danny DeVito as Ralph.
Oh, never.
He brings this incredible energy to every scene.
He's a master of physical comedy.
Oh, absolutely. His timing is impeccable.
But you know what's interesting about Ralph?
What's that?
I think he actually serves a bigger purpose than just being the comic relief.
I think you're right. There's more to him than meets the eye.
Okay, tell me more.
Think about it, Ralph. He represents that desire for quick riches, that greed.
Okay, yeah, he's always scheming, looking for the easy way out.
Exactly. And his journey throughout the film, it's like a cautionary tale.
Interesting.
He's so focused on the end goal, on getting the jewel,
Yeah.
that he loses sight of what's really important.
The relationships, the connections.
Right. And his comeuppance in the end, it's not just funny.
It has a deeper meaning.
It does. It's like a subtle reminder that true fulfillment comes from the journey, not just the destination.
That's a really great point. It adds another layer to the film's message.
It does, and it's handled really well. It's not preachy or anything.
They managed to weave those deeper ideas into the action and the humor.
Seamlessly.
Which is what makes Jewel of the Nile more than just a fun, popcorn movie.
It's a film that works on multiple levels.
It offers something for everyone. And speaking of offering something for everyone, can we talk about that soundtrack?
Oh, yeah. The soundtrack is pure 80s gold.
It's amazing. It's like a time capsule of 80s pop perfection.
Every song is a hit.
And they fit so perfectly with the action.
Remember that scene where Joan and Jack are escaping from Omar's palace?
Oh, yeah, on horseback.
And when the going gets tough starts playing,
Chills.
the music just captures the energy of that moment, the exhilaration.
It's pure cinematic magic.
It is, and it's not just the music that evokes that 80s nostalgia.
Oh, the fashion is amazing.
Joan's wardrobe, those caftans, the bold prints, the aviator sunglasses.
It's like a fashion show in the Sahara Desert.
It is, and Kathleen Turner, she absolutely rocks those outfits.
She does.
She's glamorous, she's adventurous, just the perfect 80s action heroine.
And we can't forget about Michael Douglas. He's got that effortless charm.
Oh, he's the ultimate roguish charmer.
That smirk, the unbuttoned shirt.
It's iconic.
And their chemistry is undeniable.
They have this playful banter, this spark that just jumps off the screen.
You can tell they're having fun.
They are, and that energy is infectious.
It makes Jewel of the Nile such a joy to watch.
It's a film that's just full of life and humor and adventure.
It really is.
And it reminds us that sometimes the best stories are the ones that transport us to another world, make us laugh, and leave us feeling a little bit more hopeful.
I couldn't agree more. So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From the characters, to the themes, to the music and fashion.
It's been quite a journey.
But there's still more to explore, so let's take a quick break and then we'll wrap up our Jewel of the Nile deep dive.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm thinking about everything we've discussed about Jewel of the Nile.
Yeah, it's been quite the conversation.
It has, but I feel like there's still one piece missing.
Oh. What do you think we've missed?
We've talked about Joan, Ralph, that awesome soundtrack.
Right.
But I think we need to consider how Jewel of the Nile fits in with all those other great 80s movies.
Ah, you're talking about the bigger picture.
Exactly. It's not just a standalone movie, right?
It's part of a whole trend.
Yes. A wave of films that captured that 80s spirit.
Well, what's interesting is Jewel of the Nile does that, but also kind of breaks the mold a little.
What do you mean?
It uses that classic 80s adventure formula, but adds some twists.
Oh.
It's funny, thrilling, and Joan's character really grows.
So it's like they took what we loved about those classic adventures
The locations, the charm, the action.
and make it even better.
Added some depth, some complexity. Exactly. So it's familiar but fresh.
Yeah, you get those familiar thrills, the treasure hunts, the witty back and forth, those amazing landscapes.
Right.
But then there's something new, something that challenges expectations.
That's why it still resonates with people today.
It does. It's a bit nostalgic, but still feels relevant.
Like a bridge between then and now.
Exactly. Proof that great stories never get old.
Totally agree. But before we wrap up, do you have any behind-the-scenes trivia?
Oh, always. And this one is a real gem, so to speak.
I love it. Lay it on me.
Remember when Joan and Jack are riding through the desert and find that oasis?
With the waterfall and all that lush greenery. Beautiful scene.
Well, get this. That whole oasis was built on a Hollywood set.
You're kidding. I thought they filmed the entire movie in Morocco.
Mostly, but for that scene, they recreated the oasis in a studio.
No way. It looks so real.
The magic of movies. The production designers did incredible work.
Yeah, researching all the details, the plans, everything.
They used photos, sketches, really made it believable.
It makes you appreciate all the work that goes into filmmaking.
It really does. It's a team effort.
So much more than just the actors.
Absolutely. Everyone contributes to the final product.
And in the case of Jewel of the Nile, they created something special.
A movie that people still enjoy all these years later.
Well, I think we've done it.
We covered it all.
From the story to the cultural impact to all the behind-the-scenes stuff.
It's been a fun deep dive.
It really has. So for anyone who's looking for a fun, exciting adventure movie with a little romance and a lot of heart,
check out Jewel of the Nile.
you might just discover a new favorite.
And remember, sometimes the best discoveries are the ones we least expect.
That's a great takeaway. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
And until next time, keep exploring and keep those adventurous spirits alive.